Hello, everyone. You're either about to get an ad running over the top of our actual stream, or I'm talking nonsense and have misinterpreted how ads work on Twitch. So, as Steve suggested, we will waffle until it becomes clear either way. In chat, if you get an ad starting from now onwards in the next minute or so, could you shout up in chat? And we'll, if so, we'll just keep waffling till it's done. Because I'm useless. I'm terrible. So
I think Twitch's ads can be quite random in nature as well. Like some regions will get them, some won't. It's all a bit of a mystery.
Like when you set them running, it's not entirely clear whether it's actually set running or it's preparing them or whatever. I think what I've done is I set one going, and that's all fine, and now it's preparing, so I can't trigger the next one until it's prepared.
Yeah, that would make sense.
But it does not make that clear.
That it has always been what you just said has always been my understanding. It's like an MMO cooldown. It won't. The skill is reloading. Leave your viewers alone.
Yeah. So it's probably fine. It is probably fine. Now it's got. So unless people now have ads because the countdown has just run down, then we're fine. I know. I apologize. Look, everyone out there, you're used to seeing more professional people than this. I understand that. That's fine.
Chelsea Bob has explained that we had one at the beginning of the break, and
then it's absolutely fine. Then it's absolutely fine. Thank you, Shell. Thank you, Josh. Thank you, Shell. So cool, awesome. All right, let's pick up where we left off, folks, and we're going to talk about story points first. So, Huang 12, what was your agenda through Act 2?
My agenda through Act 2, I kept it as report to Seeks and HQ, and I didn't achieve it. That's fine.
Sure. Mafalda.
Muted.
You're on mute.
But microphone muted, maybe.
No, still.
No.
Keep Paolo from being hurt.
And he was not. So get yourself a story point. Boya.
Yeah, I mean, still keep Huang 12 safe and operational.
And Huang 12 was in danger and wasn't harmed, so take yourself story points.
Through no merit of my own.
No, but still.
Yep, mine was set at the very beginning of the session and was again to successfully hide your presence from everyone, which
you can change it between acts, though.
I know. I thought about that, and then I was immediately discovered at the start of the act.
I mean, I assume you mean everyone but Mafalda.
Yeah.
Because you had already failed that one.
Yeah, at that point I was hide from everyone else. And then I immediately failed that one. In the same way I immediately failed before.
Absolutely. Dima.
I wanted to let someone in authority know about the dangers of sabotage from the members of the Moloch cult. So I think I did that.
You did that, and you can take yourself a story point. Okay, so a couple of things happen. First off, and I've already made the roll, and she succeeded. Yeva dashes over to Dima, applies, essentially, she doesn't have a medical kit with her, but she literally, just takes off, rips off an armor for fatigues and just starts desperately trying to wipe clear the acid and dropping it onto the ground. Essentially, Dima, the acid has stopped. She's made the medical roll, which I believe means you're back on your feet with 1 health.
Okay.
I believe that is the thing that happens. You've also had a successful medical roll applied to you, so you don't have a time limit on you anymore. Because you would have died within 1 shift if you hadn't been seen. The healing time for this is, I will roll it out for you, 3 days.
Okay.
So you have to have that mobility and close combat impact on you that you take a damage every time you take them.
Yikes.
It's also worth looking in general at healing, I guess. Health recovers at the rate of 1 point per 5 to 10 minutes of rest. So not too bad. Boyer, on the other hand, has keeled over like a boneless fish. And is currently on the ground, effectively asleep or
I guess the silver lining is that there's no amount of panicking that I can do that would change anything. So because I just had a panic roll as I full autoed, right? So, but
yeah. Oh yeah, we do have that to deal with, I suppose. You know, we've gone to the next
which
act.
would be funny.
We've gone to the next act. It's fine. Let's move forwards. Yeah, and otherwise the scene is as I described it at the end last time.
For reference, it would have been drop item, which I assume I do anyway while paralyzed.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So you've just like you've not frozen stiff. You're like just collapsed.
Yeah, unconscious essentially. Yeah.
Do I look? Does it look like there are any strong people around that could carry Boria?
Cam's pretty strong. Yava's pretty strong. Yeah.
Well then, yeah. I think we need to keep moving. Can somebody carry him? Was it Dima? You all right? That looks pretty bad on you there.
I'm still, I think, can barely speak in terms of pain because
that seems likely.
Yeah.
You know what? Yava has knelt over him and she turns around and says, "If that's the only one, we're not in any immediate danger right now because any of the smaller ones will take some time to get to maturity. Look, I'll pick up Makarov. Are we going to the ship?
Yeah, let's go to the ship.
Let's go to the ship. Dima, I'm sorry, you have to get up."
I'll struggle to my feet.
Cam kind of kneels down and puts his arm around you to try and heft you up.
I'm not desperately strong, but I am responsible, so I will take the other side and help you to your feet.
Yava kind of like rolls Boya onto her shoulder and kind of stands up with a long kind of noise. She's, like I say, she's quite muscular, but going to seed now in her 50s. But she's still kind of standing there with Boya just slung over. She also has his pulse rifle in like the hand that's clasping him, and the other pulse rifle sort of held against her hip.
That body, the hole, it's a structural weak point, possible entry point. We need to report it for maintenance as soon as we can.
You can do that from the comms set up on the ship.
Then let's go.
Okay, we're making our way forward through the kind of smoking crater in the foot of the corridor where the creature died.
Yeah. So someone's carrying the pulse rifle, right? For that Boria dropped.
Yeah, like Yava has like it pressed against his back and is holding the other one against her hip.
Then we'll continue on, being as cautious as ever.
Okay. You make your way forward. I think not everyone needs to make a mobility roll to get around this smoking hole, but I think one person needs to in order to find a way to safely navigate it so that everyone else can.
I can do that. I'm the nimblest among us.
You are spry.
Okay. I'm just, in my head, Paolo just does this without anyone, like, going, no, don't.
It's like, oh, how can we get across? Like, echoing around, and then Paolo goes,
4. Okay, so I have 8 die plus 5 from my panic. So I am still freaking out quite a bit.
And you know what I'm going to say as well? I think the time isn't quite there because it's meant to be kind of safe for a stretch of time. But I think killing this Xeno is reason enough to drop everyone's stress by 1.
Okay, I will drop. So I have 8 plus 4. So 12 dice. Ooh, 1 success and 1 panic.
Nice.
Okay. We'll add that stress then and then roll on the panic table, please.
Yes, adding stress, rolling on panic table. I've got 4 plus 5.
Well, no, you wouldn't add stress automatically, would you?
Yeah.
If you panic.
Rolling for panic, yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah, sorry, yeah, you don't add stress automatically. So that's actually an 8, isn't it?
That's an 8 then, rather than a 9, which is Panic. Where is the panic?
Tremble. All skill rolls using agility suffer a -2 modification until your panic stops. Okay, that's fine. And it obviously doesn't apply to this roll you just made, which was an agility roll. So I'm going to say you kind of scamper out on the course of getting across, like a little piece of corridor grating that goes under your foot and gives you a sort of thing. But you do manage to get across. It's literally just like hop to kind of get across it. You are on the other side, but now you're like, oh.
Okay.
Like you nearly went through that hole.
Take it slow.
Yeah, we'll get
this
I'll go
way.
after.
Now everyone has seen the way.
Careful of
Paolo
that
goes.
one.
You replicate the same thing. Yeva struggles a bit with Boy on her shoulder, but Cam kind of leans over and helps her across the way. Once you're past there, it is not like difficult for you to sort of make your way through these darkened corridors until they open out ahead of you about 5 minutes later into an old disused hangar. It is a very large sort of square space with a number of like more of those gantryways across the walls, a large flat area at the base where all the ships would dock. There is currently a military style Azul dropship parked right in the middle of that. The hangar doors are actually open. Like they're not open all the way. It looks like there's been some kind of mechanical fault. They're definitely open enough to fly the dropship out, but they're like open to the full air and presumably have been for a long time, which is, you know, a bit of a security problem. There is nothing else. There's a scattering of old equipment, but nothing else essentially in here. You can see like the Gehenna, the night on Gehenna, days on Gehenna are quite long, and you're still kind of moving towards the night here. You've been here obviously hours, Mafalda, and ahead of you, you can see like the Gehenna sky overhead, and you can see even sort of further ahead from that there is a you can see another one of these refineries in the near distance, and then further on from that, you can see the sort of lights of Azul as the towers of Azul rise over the sickly, toxic fog. I think we described Bering in the last story that we did, and it's worth describing what Azul looks like. The answer is very different in that Azul looks much more like, I guess, like a futuristic cityscape with great towers rising above the toxic smog of Gehenna. If you're actually there, obviously further down within that, life is a little bit rougher, and you know there is crime and pollution and unpleasantness further down. But at least the very privileged of Azul managed to live in relative comfort in a place that doesn't just look like a prefab nightmare that Bering was. So it is markedly different.
I'm going to head towards the ship.
Yeah, I'm going to follow short behind.
Absolutely. Yeva also follows and kind of rests Boya up against sort of an old trolley stack and starts kind of, you know, like peels back his eyes and is just like checking his vitals. It seems to be fairly comfortable with what she's found. Cam is also standing over and kind of asking questions about his state, because it's worth knowing we have had paralyzed. You were paralyzed before by Stinger, right? I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or it was. Yeah.
Yes, it was right. It was near the beginning, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Thing apparently.
You all consider yourself safe because, as we've described, even like the chest burster, right, would take. There's no canon answer of how long it takes, right? But it's like in hours rather than minutes. Okay, so you can assume you're all roughly safe until a klaxon sound, or anything like that, or hours pass and the thing grows. And this, looking at the ship, is going to take a while. It's going to take at least half an hour to do a full diagnostic. With that in mind, everyone I think can take all their stress away, because I think it just goes right in its entirety if you. For every 5 to 10 minutes spent resting, I say stress level. Okay, everyone reduce their stress level by 3, which should do a lot of help. And also for that healing we mentioned, is that a similar 1 point every?
I think from what you mentioned, yes.
Yeah, it is. So everyone can also heal 3 points of health. Okay. Justin, you're checking over the ship, right?
That is my job.
Well, you can either give me a heavy machinery or a piloting roll, depending on your preference.
I think I know which one of those two I'll pick, and it will be the piloting.
Is there any way I can assist?
Yeah, you can just, even if it's just scampering around and answering questions that Mafalda yells at you. So you know what, Justin, you can take an extra die for that.
Yeah, I'm gonna need it. I think I might have to push as well because I'm gonna have to push because I rolled like basically nothing but ones. So I just
were any of those ones stress dice?
Yeah.
I thought we'd cleared all our stress. We took
you reduced
3 away
it by
from stress.
3.
Yeah.
Three.
How
Yeah.
much stress did you have? Good God.
So the stress die doesn't get re-rolled because it's showing something.
Can you push if you panic? I don't think you can.
No, you can't push if you panic.
Okay, well in that case, I get no successes. I will spend a story point to get 1 success.
Okay. In that case, let's deal with your panic and then we'll deal with the success. So if you roll,
panic is fine.
Panic is fine. Yeah. That's all fine then. This dropship is in way better condition than you could have anticipated. In point of fact, the only thing you can find wrong with it is that it has no fuel.
Oh, good.
Shit, where are we going to get fuel from? If only there was a fueling station nearby.
There's definitely spare fuel on the shuttle. And there may be other fuel stored around this place. Like you say, it's a fuel refining, drilling and refining plant.
Is there enough power to do things like radio the rest of the station?
No, you would definitely. It can't be turned on. Essentially, yeah.
Right.
Do I think that there is any this is a hangar, so presumably basically can I check to see if there's any fuel in the hangar for fueling ships?
Yeah, you can definitely have a look around. Cool. I'll make you roll, but there's no point because you're just looking around comprehensively looking for fuel. There is no fuel here.
Yeah, they really cleared up when they left. The ships, I basically tell everyone the ship looks perfectly flyable, but we need fuel. And there's some fuel on my ship.
There's definitely there's definitely enough spare fuel to make it to Azul or even much further.
I brought 2 weeks of fuel for that small ship. That will take us in this ship to Azul and back. So, but I can fly it down, but I'd have to get back up there. Or maybe there'll be some other, there might be some other fuel around here, but we'd have to go searching for it.
The fuel canisters that are aboard the shuttle as well are intended to be very carryable. So you could definitely disconnect them up there and carry them down here. It would be comfortable, but it would be doable. Or as you say, you could fly this shuttle down into this hangar without much problem.
I think then I think that would be our plan A, and then if we were to get the doors open of the hangar first, so I could land in here, that would be the first step because I'd have to have the hangar doors open before I could land the ship.
Although it's smaller, so maybe it would.
That's my thought. So can we get the hangar doors open? Is my plan.
The hangar doors are open.
Yeah, they're open enough for my ship to get through.
Yeah.
Cool. Right, that's fine.
Your ship is
then
smaller.
I explain the situation to the rest of the crew and say,
okay, let's all who's me and you. Let's go, and everyone else can back us up, right?
We can all head back. I think
there's still
sensible keeping together.
There's still the problem of the other body.
It's true.
And your ship's I don't know this, do I? But your ship is locked down.
Yeah, I mean, all it takes is the landing crew, is the crew up at top to unlock it, and if it is not unlocked, we can always carry the fuel canisters back down. I guess the question is it more important to find this other body, or is it more important for us to get out of here alive? And I think we know the answer to that question. We need an escape route.
Come on, listen to my sister. She knows what she's talking about.
Look at me. We've seen these things before. You can't outrun them for long.
You guys have been doing a hell of a job of it.
The ship, from the instructions that we were given, was acquiring the ship a secondary objective.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Then we still have our primary objective.
If you intend to flee this place, well, if we don't do something about that body, then everyone on this station will die.
If we don't find a way off this station, then everyone on this thing will die.
We can let people know what's happening, and then backup can come.
The problem, I think, there is an additional complication with just throwing everyone on a ship and leaving. There is a cult of saboteurs that we have already seen have a way out of the fence gate guarded enclosure that they're kept in. If we pile everyone on we found a body.
I think Cam's notion was that the xenomorph had gotten into the...
Oh.
You have no indicator that the body was a cultist.
If we find this other xenomorph, great. But ultimately, there needs to be an escape plan. Maybe that doesn't involve taking any of these bearing cultists off here. Maybe it involves just taking people we trust off here. But whatever we end up doing, which will not be my decision, will require a ship to get us off here. So we need to head back to get fuel, because there isn't going to be time to do it later if things get messy.
Can everyone who is awake roll observation, please?
Three successes.
One success.
3. And finally, Justin.
2 successes, I think. Yep.
Okay.
I was wrong. I had 4.
Okay, then. So, Paolo, you rolled the least, I think.
Just 1.
So who rolled it? 4 and 3. Sure, yeah. Well, we'll say you all notice it, but Huang, you rolled the most. Movement catches the corner of your eye. Movement out of the hangar bay, and you glance over, obviously quite paranoid and maybe readying your weapon. The movement is not here. The movement is a long way away. And the movement is that platform refinery you saw on the horizon, the other one, slowly sliding to one side and crumpling silently because, you're so far away, down below the smog and toxic fumes of Gehenna. As you watch the collapse of this huge structure, your eyes are also drawn to Azul, slightly closer in the distance, which looks as it normally would, but the sort of the lights that you saw before up the, across the towers in the darkening sky are lit even further by pinpricks of extra light that are flashing randomly across the entire scale of the towers from top to bottom, as you can see. All of you can see this. I will say that Huang 12 sees it first and perhaps alerts the other people to see it. Dima, you rolled a lot of successes as well, so I will give you just an extra thing here. If anyone hasn't drawn this conclusion already, that looks like a citywide firefight.
Yeah, I think I'll probably just start laughing, sort of not hysterically, but we're fucked.
Why is he laughing, Math?
Don't worry about it. He's just. We need to get fuel. Everything else. What is like? If these things get out to the rest of the planet, I mean, they can't. Like none of that matters. The only thing that matters is us getting off here. There's nothing that can happen to like by way of the wasteland to that matters if people if whatever that thing is survives. None of that is important. Us getting out of here is important.
Yeva kind of looks at the dropship and then looks out of the hangar doors and just says, "This goes orbital, right?"
This thing does a hell of a lot of things, and yeah, it can do that.
Boyer, you are coming too.
Do we win?
Oh
No.
What? Update me.
ship's good, needs fuel.
Okay.
We got the
Fuel back where we started.
Great.
We got the creature. We got it.
Okay. Yeah. Got that one. Remember that.
The other platform outside just fell.
Okay. Can't say I'm totally surprised.
No, I mean fell.
Like.
It collapsed.
Oh.
Sabotaged.
Okay.
Or
You don't know if
damaged
it was
the
sabotage,
legs.
but-
Everybody believes it's sabotage.
Dima's
Dima's making
Sure,
that
yeah,
leap. Dima's like, no, this is fucking cultist. Okay.
Our position is untenable and we're leaving.
Okay. This is getting to be a habit.
I'd
so-
love to know about Huang's calculus on human life here.
The burn guy is delusional. We gotta go. We don't have time.
Okay. So the fuel is back up top, did you say? But the ship works.
I mean, there could be fuel somewhere else here, but they've done a good job of draining it from the hangar. They probably took everything they could and they left. We could search for days in the dark down here trying to find it, but I know there's fuel up at the top.
Right. There's a question here. We can risk starting a panic by trying to get extra people on the ship because it presumably can carry more than just us by some significant amount, right? But if we tell people what's happening, people will freak out. They'll be fighting, panicking. It'll be anarchy. Or we don't save anyone. I don't love either option.
The decision about that is entirely to be made when we get to the surface, and not to be made before.
Fuel first. Okay.
First.
Okay, I take it we are gathering ourselves then and striking out back towards the upper part of the platform. You know the way you're going this time. You're not immediately on edge, at least from the presence of a fully grown xenomorph, right? So you're moving through with relative swiftness. It's when you're about halfway back, which is about halfway up, moving back towards the surface, that you start to hear distant noises, banging, shouting, and almost like a thudding, like a huge drum is being beaten. When you get even further towards the surface, and this is maybe 20 minutes after you've left the hangar, you can hear what sounds like. It sounds like a riot, is what it sounds like, up ahead at the top of the platform. Does this change in any way, or are you still like, well, we still have to go as fast as possible towards the top?
Well, at least we don't have to worry about the anarchy angle anymore.
If people see us carrying fuel, they might.
It's not my intention to carry it, but yeah. We might need to get the command on side, and if there's a like a command point we can retreat to, and kind of say, this is our plan, this is your best way out, then we'll be able to get the ship released, and we can leave it in their decision about how they handle everything else.
I feel like command might be a little tied up right now from
It's
what
true,
I'm hearing.
But unless we can get them to approve releasing the ship, then we're going to be carrying that fuel back down.
Oh, God. Or do you know where that mechanism gets released? And maybe we skip the whole approval process and do it ourselves.
Do I know that?
Not off the top of your head, but you could make several educated guesses.
It might be in the control room for the hangar space for the landing pads, but I don't know. It's my first day here.
Okay, yeah, so Bori and everyone else have been here 8 months, right? So
you guys should know.
Worst first day on the job ever.
It is,
right,
you know what? It is what it is, but it isn't. It is, but it isn't.
But it's exciting. You could never say it was boring, so maybe not.
Is it worse for it to be your first day or for it to be your last day before retirement?
Yeah, exactly.
It's looking like it might be both. So, okay, I assume we're making our way forwards cautiously and trying to get.
If we want to head to the control room, that seems like a sensible idea because we can always meet leadership there, whatever is left of it.
Yeah. You need to get to the top of the platform first, but yeah, absolutely. Okay, are we just moving as a group out of that corridor where we entered into the main part of this platform, or are we sending someone out first? What are we doing? Because you can hear now, riot is bare minimum of what you can hear.
Is there gunfire, or is it just yelling and clattering?
There was gunfire, but as you approach the entranceway more closely, the gunfire has stopped by now.
I kind of feel like I say that Paolo and I are in Azul fatigues.
Mm-hmm.
You guys aren't. Maybe if they see us, they might get a reaction. Do you mind going looking first and telling us if it's okay to come out? If they've just strung up all of the guards, this could be the end of our entire escape plan if I step out there.
Yeah. Well, look, you're the pilot. We nobody makes it out if you don't make it out. So yeah, that makes sense to me.
Leans in and says, "That's a bit of an assumption of who may have won a conflict."
Yeah. Though I don't think they will gun every single non-military person down, right? Whereas the other way around, they're going to kill every single. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't know.
Kind of shrugs.
Well, can we just get eyes on the situation?
Yeah,
sure. So who is proceeding out from the hatch? Everyone but Mafalda and Paolo?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Is that
okay?
Yeah. Okay.
I'll be hanging back a bit because I can't rush anywhere. So
sure.
Yeah.
So as you emerge from the hatch, you see ahead of you what can adequately be described as chaos. In fact, it's safe to say that Gehenna has perhaps finally achieved its namesake, in that a great deal of the surface of the platform is in flames. A lot of the rest of it, the chain link fence, the guard towers, are in wreckage. There are people running around screaming, clearly hiding. You can see several physical conflicts still going ahead, people being beaten or people being dragged around by groups of others. In the center of where the yard was, there is a gathering of people, maybe 50 or so strong. There are a number of guards that you can see there who appear to have had their hands bound or are on their knees in a line. They are in front of what looks to be an old, quite large tubular fuel canister, which has been dragged out from the interior where everyone was sleeping out to this point. A fire has been set underneath it. On one end of it is what looks like the crude daubings of the head of a bull, and from inside it is coming a banging and horrible shrill screaming sound. Just in front of it is an individual stood, stripped almost completely, essentially just wearing the equivalent of a loincloth. A man who all of you who have seen kind of here roaming around for the last 8 months, talking to people, making friends with people. He has an almost kind of youthful, angelic beauty to him, and he has his arms raised up to the sky, screaming at the top of his lungs in what is barely understandable, even for those of you who speak Russian. You catch the word Moloch, unsurprisingly. Notably, there are a lot of people who are now wielding pulse rifles standing near the shuttle. And there are others who are ferrying what seems to be old refinery fuel canisters and other equipment towards that shuttle.
Well, fuck. How many people with pulse rifles, roughly?
Well, there were 50 guards originally, right? And they gave, 6 of them to you? So let's go with 44.
But you said we were down to 30 guards, Matt. That's why they dropped it.
But they guns.
Oh, sorry. I see what you're saying. Right, and now just any odd person can get one. Yeah, I see.
There are plenty of people in Bering, in those prison fatigues, who are clearly not going along with it, but they are either stood in groups looking on with fear, or have been beaten, or or are just
Cows.
running and hiding. Yeah.
Right. So, do we know where we might get some fuel other than the fuel that those people are dragging off to the way we were going to transport our fuel? All of this is bad.
You don't know offhand, but there are quite a lot of people transporting a lot of stuff, and it's chaos. And some of them are, on their way nearish to you. So,
all right.
Yeah.
If we're fast and we only move with people in prison fatigues, which is the arrangement we have currently achieved, correct? Everyone out here, because it was just
Mafalda and Paolo are still in the hatch. Yeah.
Okay. Then maybe we just look busy and like we belong, and we start wheeling some fuel, and then take a little detour, right? And see if we can squirrel some away from all these people.
Sounds like a great plan.
Okay. Any counter offers?
Sounds like the best plan.
How I guess notorious was I as the company synth?
Most of you were pretty notorious, which is why someone decided to raise their rep by trying to kick the crap out of you.
And I don't feel like I blended in either, because I killed that guy. So. And
well, we've got
no state to be barreling fuel about on his own.
I can't run around, that's for sure. I mean, I guess I could try to be inconspicuous and sort of just, but
misdirect someone.
Any physical activity, any sort of, I can't,
and we have a couple of NPCs, right? We have
Yeva and Cam.
Cam
are with you.
The shuttle.
Speaking of them, sorry, Cam leans in and says, "Okay, we have to do something right the fuck now."
And the shuttle is crawling, correct?
The shuttle is crawling, yes.
Right. Okay.
I'd say a good 20 or so people are there standing guard around it.
And there's some people like passing close by to us, and are they
Yeah,
transporting some fuel?
They're pretty close by. Yeah, some of them are transporting fuel, others of them are transporting other supplies, various things. They're definitely within, lightning strike range. Whether you get attention from other people doing it is another matter.
How loud? I mean, someone's going to hear a pulse rifle go off, right? They will.
As I say, it's very chaotic, and the firing has only just stopped, so it could just be interpreted as more conflict carrying on. Like,
I feel like Makarov might just do something that's a complete fucking wild gamble if no one's going to pipe up with an objection.
Well,
metagame now.
I might suggest if we can get some fuel near us, and you said there was fuel stashed by the shuttle, right?
Yeah, well, it's stashed on the shuttle. But
the shuttle. Oh, okay, drat. I was gonna if that was targetable, maybe creating a diversion whilst we nab fuel elsewhere might work. But that's the only thing I had in mind.
Is the shuttle? Does it have its rear ramp down and facing us? Can we have line of sight on?
Yeah, you do.
This pulse rifle doesn't have a nice underslung grenade launcher by any chance, does it?
It does, but it isn't loaded.
Yeah, I suspected they wouldn't have got anything for it. But I can see maybe some barrels in there.
Probably not. If it's like Hercules, the fuel will be stored
way up.
Yeah. So I know where you're going with it.
I was just saying to try and not even necessarily blow up, just cause a fire.
Yeah. I don't think you can clearly see fuel barrels to blow on the shuttle now.
Yeah. I just wanted to start some shit, and they don't have any scattered around them. No, screw it. Okay. I think in this case, I'm going to try to basically just walk up very confidently with my rifle to one of these people moving fuel barrels right close to us, and basically say, hey, don't you know this is supposed to be going fucking downstairs? We got another shuttle fuel. Come on. What the hell are you guys doing?
Okay. Give me, please, a manipulation roll.
Oh yeah,
or a command, or a command roll. Your choice of the two.
Okay, absolute goddamn forte here. No, it doesn't make a difference. They're both garbage.
Story points.
Yeah. Okay, that's nada on the ability. So come on, stress. Let's do this. Oh, okay, so there is a panic in there, but there's also a success.
Okay. Generate that panic for me, please.
Oh yeah, this will go great. I'm just gonna flinch a bit, hopefully.
Well, your stress must be pretty low again, right?
Does the stress doesn't go up? Does it? It just I roll my stress again.
No. Yeah, it only goes up if it says it goes up on the table.
Okay, it's a 7, so I have a nervous twitch.
Okay.
But it's a tense situation, it's fine.
Which knocks your stress up again by 1, right?
It does, ratchets up the stress by 1, so I'm on 6 stress now.
Well, you go forward and you yell this at the man.
I do have story points to spend, so
okay.
But if this isn't
you succeeded, so yeah.
Right, okay.
No,
I wasn't sure if it was a hard check.
That's fine.
Okay,
no.
Cool.
Justin, what were you going to ask?
Just the risk of taking away successes from Boyer, would his stress not have gone down as well in our time recovering to the top of the...
I took off the 1 stress that Matt mentioned. Everyone...
We'd all lost
it was
at some point.
3.
Oh, sorry, it was 3. Well, in which case...
While you were unconscious.
I can re-roll that if you want. I thought it was 1 stress.
I don't want to get in the way of things.
Did you roll your success on a stress die?
Yes.
I would like a re-roll, please.
Okay.
But so also, then you might you'll take less stress, which is
yes,
good.
there is that. In which
there's
case,
a balance there.
Oh god, right. So I had 5 when I rolled, which means I should have had 3. So let's re-roll 3 stress die in here. That is no successes, but also no panic. So I will burn a story point to generate 1 success,
again,
and then
success.
we're all squared away.
The
Good catch.
the individual who's like rattling and it's literally like a trolley with a couple of fuel canisters on it and maybe a box that's got like some rations in it or something like that, and he's kind of rattling it along like a walkway like near the edge of the platform, and as you approach he kind of turns around and goes, "Oh, all right, not the shuttle."
No, we have another. Look, it doesn't matter. It's above your fucking pay grade anyway. Just wheel the shit downstairs, all right? And we need more fuel. More fuel. Come on.
All right, look, I'll do anything. But look, Avdi said I'd have a seat. He said I'd have a seat. He turns
You'll
around
get a seat.
and kind of starts moving it towards that and reaches kind of the edge of like these steps on the way down and says, I don't know how to, and you never find out what he doesn't know how to, because at this point, Cam, who's kind of approached around the other side, just grabs the scruff of his collar and yanks back, and he just goes flying off the edge of the platform and down with a scream.
I mean, I was going to give him a seat, but all right.
Yeah, I was offered the seat.
Cam, like the trolley won't go down the stairs very well, but Cam just reaches down and like hefts a fuel canister.
All right, can I like duck my head in and be like, Math, how much more of this shit do we need? I'm not an engineer.
I don't know. Like, what are we thinking, Matt?
You think that it depends like how far you want to go, you know. But I'm going to say that this fuel, I'm going to be generous to myself and say this fuel is kind of sci-fi-ish, hyper dense. So
Cool.
You think of these barrels, like 3 of them should at least get you into orbit. At least.
Cool. Now that we are somewhere that has electronics, do we have access to the station comm system?
We keep talking about the station comm system.
I don't know. Like, basically, I want to see if there's a way of radioing.
If you want to, yeah, I mean, you could try getting to Andrade's office.
Yeah, like basically that's what I would have been doing while this whole thing would have been sorted out.
All right, so you're leaving the hatch then.
Well, if without leaving the hatch, there's a way of doing it. If I have to leave the hatch to do it, then I'll leave it be. But if there's a way, right, okay.
I mean, everything is on that top platform.
Okay,
like, you've got to go onto the top platform to get to any of that.
Just like
it's like the settlement is above all the decrepit machinery and shit, right?
Yeah,
that's fine. That's fine.
Right.
Sure.
So TLDR, we need to secure like
3 of these.
Right, and we got 1.
No, well, I'm actually going to roll a D3 on how many there are on this trolley. There are 3.
Okay.
This will get us into orbit, but if we can get more, then that's great. And also, I don't mind promising places on a ship to people who are reliable, because also we still need to get down there. And to be quite frank, the more people there are, the less chance of me getting splashed by alien blood or picked off by one of those things.
Okay.
Well, you want to hold interviews now?
I'm just look. You've been with these people for 8 months. If you see people that you know who are reliable, and you see, I don't know, you make your own decisions. This is enough fuel to get us into orbit, but then we're stuck there.
Yeah, I don't want to get through all this to asphyxiate slowly in orbit. So let's see what we can figure out.
It won't just get you into orbit. It will get you, I said, to at least in orbit, and then it depends where you want to go. Like, this is not an inter-system craft.
No.
Bear in mind,
there is
me and Math have not seen the cultists burning people, right? So we think it's totally fine to go and like recruit some of these guys to help us out, because maybe they want a space on the ship.
I guess the assessment is: do you think there is a way of securing more fuel? Because if so, more fuel is good.
Yeah, well, that was my instinct as well, but I don't want to risk getting into a firefight. So if I look out of the hatch now, like, are people still kind of wheeling shit around close by? Is there any, or is the opportunity dried up?
How the scene has changed is that people down in the yard are dragging charred, burned curled up corpses out of the brazen bull in the center of the yard, and other individuals are being kind of like held up and prepared to be thrown into it. At the same time as this, the kind of beautiful, angelic looking man is walking up with surrounded by several other people wielding pulse rifles, kind of walking up towards the landing platform. Several people are entering the shuttle and look like they're getting ready to go.
I really want to shut that shit down, but I don't know how.
I mean, maximum chaos is try and shoot your pulse rifle at that guy.
Yeah, but that is buck wild because there's like so many people here with guns and shit.
No one is now moving fuel to. Everyone seems to have moved what they want to move towards the shuttle. So
okay,
still go and look around if you want to risk it. You know, there's any number. You can do whatever you want with this scene, is what I'm telling you.
Let's get going.
Yeah. I kind of want to like stick my oar in, but I also feel like it's super risky. Would someone like to?
Paolo's the only person who's saying anything, and he's saying, "Let's get going." So you can let that tiny pebble or grain of sand weigh in the balance of your.
I'm not in charge here, guy. You know, like
you know what? You're a guy with a gun, so like you're not in charge.
Hey, I'm a guy with a gun too.
Well, we haven't heard from Steve or John for a little bit, so how about we have some input from them?
I think if there's no obvious way to interfere, there's no point putting ourselves on the line to mildly inconvenience them.
I don't think there's anything we can do.
It's a fair point.
Right,
it's a fair point.
Okay,
I mean, where are they even go with that thing? Who knows, right? Okay, yeah, let's just bug out. Screw this place.
Yeah.
Okay.
The bots made the calculation. It's safe.
So we have 3 barrels. Who is carrying those, with the caveat that you cannot wield a pulse rifle while you are carrying a barrel? And also Paolo can't carry a barrel.
And also Dima can't carry a barrel, presumably.
Yeah, you can.
I will...
I thought Dima was like messed up.
His health has recovered by now. It's
okay.
Fine.
Well, I'll carry a barrel as best I can then. Any mobility rolls will hurt me, but as you know,
I'd like to have a gun. I'm reasonably good with a gun, so.
Okay. Huang, can you?
I can try to carry one. Again, I'm not desperately strong, but
okay.
You can carry one. It's fine.
Then I'll carry one.
In that case, Yeva will volunteer to carry the other one, thinking Cam's the better shot.
Great.
As you like carry them through the hatch and start to retreat away from the horrible scene at the top of the platform, the klaxons start blaring.
Well, seems like not an us problem anymore, so let's just go. All
right. You want to get back on that chain, Boria?
No, let's pick up the pace. I like this plan better.
Sure. So I take it we're going to start making our way through the the labyrinthine warrens of the refinery, in roughly the same way you went the first time. You can pretty much remember the way. So
yeah, safe known ground, and absolutely fucking booking it as far as you can book it, carrying 3 very heavy barrels.
Absolutely. Not long after the klaxons start blaring, you start to hear reverberations through the station. You hear gunfire going off above, and the entire sort of platform. It's like there's a minor tremor happening. Can we all please, and you're going to love this, Dima, make a mobility roll?
Oh dear.
I probably should have given everyone a stress for watching people being cooked alive, shouldn't I?
Yeah, I was gonna. Yeah.
At this point, that's pedestrian.
Yeah. One success.
I assume I haven't actually seen the people being cooked alive. Because
you and Mafalda didn't pop your heads out, so
yeah.
That's fine.
That's no successes and a panic, which is great.
Okay.
No successes, but I'll spend a story point. No panics.
Sure. And you also take a damage, obviously, Dima.
Yep.
Mafalda, how do you do?
I had to push, but I got one success, and my panic wasn't that big deal.
Cool. Alex?
I have, of course, once again dropped item.
Of course.
for the 17th time. At least I wasn't carrying a barrel, right? That could have been really bad.
At least you weren't carrying a barrel, so it could have been. It could have been a lot worse.
I guess I should spend an experience my last story point to have some success on this check.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'll get one success.
Absolutely. Okay. In that case, Boyer, what I'm going to say is that as you're traveling through the station, you're you know what? Yeah, I mean, there's no other thing for it really. I'm going to say that one of the tremors sends you sprawling, and the pulse rifle goes skittering out of your grasp and drops off an edge into. It's unattainable. It has dropped between a load of machinery about 60 feet below you. Cam is kind of walking past you and kind of like heaves you up to your knees and says, "Your timing is excellent."
Hey, look, things were getting a bit easy. I was bored. This will make it interesting.
Well, you can always get the gun from the kid again.
Take mine. I'm carrying the barrel and it's sort of like slung onto my hip, I guess. Or
yeah, exactly. Absolutely.
That's pragmatic. Yeah, thanks, man. All right, I take it.
Okay, as you're making your way forward, I would say you're about a third of the way there again. There is a horrible grinding, crunching noise. The entire refinery lurches, and you hear also somewhere off, elsewhere in this labyrinthine warren, a crashing, screeching noise that doesn't sound entirely inanimate.
Like organic?
Like something tearing through the hull of the refinery.
Let's hurry.
Cool.
Okay. Can we have another mobility roll, please?
Fuck.
One from Huang, 2 from Paolo, 2 from Mafalda. Great.
I don't mind using my trick to give someone else some ability.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I rolled no successes, but a facehugger. So,
okay.
First panic of the
absolutely
session, but it's 5+1. So
you've done amazingly well to only panic till now.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Dima, you kind of stumble as you're making your way round a corner. You're kind of almost in the mess hall area. It's a different one. It's a few over from the other, but you're in that rough area, and you kind of bash your hip, part of which is burned against a doorway, and kind of stumble and almost fall. As you do so, Yeva kind of like grabs you to pick you up, and just in the brief moment as the others hurry on, goes, "Can you hear that?" You can. It sounds like 1,000 claws scraping across metal somewhere deep within this hellish industrial catacomb.
Oh. Pick myself up and just sort of struggle onwards wordlessly.
Okay. You all make your way even further through this, going down, these gantryways, these walkways, until you see the dim light of the hangar opening ahead of you at the end of a corridor. as you do so, there is the sound of wrenching metal and torn steel, and an all too familiar high-pitched screaming, shrieking noise behind you. Cam sort of whips round and stops firing his rifle back down the corridor.
I mean, I'll go on.
I was just going to say, I keep going. I don't stop at all.
That is a fact.
If I can safely help Cam with that, then I'll do it, because we need to keep some space.
I have an image here I would like to show you to represent what is going on. So if I could, before I do so Paolo has carried on. I'm assuming Mafalda is just carrying on and is running as fast as she can. Dima and Huang, how about yourselves?
As I'm carrying fuel that everyone else is depending on, I keep moving. Yeah.
So you keep moving. So maybe Boyer is the only person who,
oh, God.
And maybe Yeva are the only people who really see this. That's Cam. As they pour down the corridor, he yells for you to run.
Damn it, Cam. Yeah, fuck. I mean, okay. Yeah. Boyer kind of just registers the inevitability of it and just, he says, thanks, Cam, just really just kind of in a really hollow way, and just starts running.
As you do so, you hear him yell out in Vietnamese, which you reckon you can speak Vietnamese as part of this. No one better. You pile down the gantry towards the dropship. It can be fuel, the fuel can be carried inside and basically linked up to a fueling system in there. You don't need to fill it and then take off, which I'm assuming everyone is doing as fast as they possibly can. Mafalda, can you give me a piloting roll, please? Which you can take 3 extra dice from the help from the 3 people carrying the barrels, to make sure that you can get this ship up. Once it's fueled, it should be relatively quick to get it up and out.
Three successes.
That's fantastic.
God damn.
Direct the others, and you know
stuff.
what? Huang has been programmed in this kind of stuff. Dima, as a scientist, is fairly familiar with these kind of heavy machinery systems. Paolo just does whatever he's told, and they all link it in and get the ship refueling as quickly as they can. That's the hat opening at the back of the ship. Is it just being Yeva is stood by it and is ready to either crank it shut, or she also has a pulse rifle and is stood there? Do we think it's better to stand and fire while the ship preps and takes off, or to just shut it up?
Sorry, I'm a bit confused.
You have to get this ship up and off and out of the hangar. The hatch at the back of the ship, the kind of drop ramp, should it be just shut? You can see dark biomechanical forms pouring out of the entryway that Cam held. Should it be shut and hope that that hatch stops them, or do people want to stand there and fire to try and buy you every second they can? Yeva seems open to either.
I lean towards the latter.
I don't think the hatch will hold them.
Yes.
And we don't want them to damage any of the hull.
Yeah.
Well, then Dima had a pulse rifle which was slung, so I would say Yeva has a pulse rifle, Boyer has one that he took off Huang, and Dima has one that he can either hand to Huang, I guess, or use himself.
How good is Huang with ranged?
You are not aware of Huang's ranged combat score. So you cannot decide as a character.
Yeah. I'll keep hold of it just to try and get some bloody payback on these things, I think.
You know of at least one experience where Huang has successfily fired.
True. Yeah. Yeah,
definitely keep hold of it.
So, but I'm not targeting any specific Xeno because, as I say, there's this whole swarm of them coming out of this. But Dima and Boya, can you make ranged combat rolls, please, to see how we do?
Alrighty.
And Paolo, surely.
Yeah, can I attempt?
Paolo can. Yeah, Paolo can
with my
fire
little pistol
if he wants. Yeah.
I'll try it.
Absolutely.
I mean, Paolo's got like
that
5 in shooting, so
what does that pistol have any pluses, Justin? Do you know?
yeah, it's +2.
+2.
It's an extra 2 die for Paolo.
Oh,
That's the point.
Don't forget to add your stress.
And these do full auto, right?
They do full auto, and if you want to fire full auto, you are more than welcome.
Did
I got-
Mafalda have a pulse rifle?
Yeah.
Can I take Mafalda's?
Yes.
Can I take Mafalda's?
Yeah.
If she's piloting.
It's up to Mafalda.
No.
What do you add for full auto? Sorry, is it?
Plus
you add
2.
2 dice. 2 dice.
You add 2
right.
dice. Yeah.
And you get a
then-
point of stress.
Yeah.
And it factors into the roll.
And it immediately applies. Yeah.
Oh god. Okay.
So I got 3 successes.
I do have a secret requirement here for you to keep them off the
Not
back
horribly
of the hatch,
die.
so.
Yeah. Okay.
I have 3 successes and a panic, which was a 7, which I
It's just a tremble, I think, which just gives you
Just drop the
one more
pistol
point of
into
stress.
the abyss.
Yeah. How did Dima and Boya do?
I got 1 fucking success and like 3 panics. Not that it matters, I guess.
Jeez.
But the panic was super bad. It was
Oh,
freeze.
Shit.
Sure. How did Dima do?
Well, so Dima's horribly burned now,
Mhm.
in great pain, and is just sort of this tattered old scientist screaming. I got 4 successes, and I'm going to use my last story point to add a success.
Okay, then.
That's brilliant.
Okay, here's what we'll do. Let's go on narrative for the end of this now. So, Paolo, you are stood behind the others, sort of not wildly firing, but kind of like pulling the trigger as fast as you possibly can. You see a couple of your rounds hit home. You can't help but hit, honestly. There are so many of them pouring through. Boya, Yelena is Yelena? Yeva?
Yeva.
Yeva, and there was an NPC up top called Helena.
Yes, that's why I'm getting confused. Yeva is knelt like on one knee at the back of the hatch, in very classic firing line position, kind of like clearly like firing, taking a breath, firing, taking a breath, and is really actually mowing down the front layer of them that are coming through. Boya, you perhaps drop to a knee next to her to do the same. Do you think that's something you do?
Seems reasonable to fire over the top, or yeah.
Sure, and you let rip with full auto, and instantly it all becomes too much for you. The mag empties far faster than you anticipated. Maybe you didn't know how much was in it because it was Huang's rifle, and you just kind of stop where you are. This is, this feels like a make or break moment, and you just kind of stop and take a look down at your rifle, and next to you, Dima takes a step forward, not being able to drop to any kind of classic firing position, but just absolutely unleashes a full barrage of automatic fire into this mass. It drops, he slaps the side of it, drops out, slams another one in, and carries on going. Do you think, Steve, it might be appropriate if Dima is screaming at the top of his lungs as he's doing this?
Oh, yeah.
He's still screaming with finger pressed down on a second empty magazine when the hatch grinds to a shut in front of him, until Yeva basically like grabs him and pulls him over to the side and just sort of like rams him up against the side to get him to realize that he can stop firing. the engines of the dropship thrum, catch for a moment in silence, and then to all your relief kick in, and the dropship launches itself off the hangar platform to the point where you all go, apart from Mafalda, go sprawling inside this thing, and it exits the hangar doors and rockets off into the sky. And I think we said that we were going orbital, right? We're not bothering with Azul. I don't think.
Rock.
Sure.
Okay. You climb up through the darkening Gehenna sky, up out until, Gehenna doesn't have much cloud cover. Most of the color in the sky is like heavy particles of odd toxic matter that you rocket through fairly quickly, and maybe 3 or 4 minutes later you're emerging out into an open field of stars, leaving the atmosphere of Gehenna behind you, and you hang there in space for a few moments, just kind of like leaving the engines on idle and just breathing, essentially, when the sensors of the ship blip.
The external sensors.
Uh-huh.
I think during this time I would have been trying to reach anyone I can on comms.
Mm-hmm.
So
sure, yeah, and that's why they blip, because you're receiving back an automated signal.
And let's see what that is.
It is basically a proximity signal. Is anyone else heading into the cockpit at this point? You can all get up and
I'm definitely going to check on my sister. We made it, Math.
Did you make sure you closed that hangar door and went into space?
Oh yeah, it's all closed. There is you're essentially getting an alarm telling you not to go to a certain area in a nearby, quite near in orbit, because someone is already there. And in fact, when looking out of the view screen, you can see an area of space over, miles and miles and miles away from where you are, where there's a black patch of stars where they should be. It's quite large, and to you that would seem to indicate, as your sensors seem to agree with, quite a few large ships that are hanging in near orbit on Gehenna. There are protocols to this. You can send out a transmission that will essentially get a transponder response that should ID the ships for you.
Let's do that then. I mean, yeah, let's do that.
Or you could try and just open comms with them.
I mean, I'm going to try and open comms with them. That was my initial kind of instinct.
Sure. You open your comms and try and transmit out to them. There is no response.
Then I'll do the first thing.
Absolutely. You receive back a transponder signal. It does not match any national or corporate ID.
Cool. Cool.
You can start moving towards them though, with the hope that if you could raise comms, these ships are clearly large enough to take on board this dropship.
Yeah, I'll kind of approach, but not to directly intercept. I'll close the distance. That's what I'm trying to say.
Fly casual.
Fly casual.
You steer the ship round to navigate the orbit and try and get closer to them. After about 30 seconds of this, there are vivid flashes of light ahead of you where the ships hang in the air above Gehenna. These flashes of light start arcing down towards the planet. Within seconds, the surface of Gehenna erupts into significant flashes of light as these very large, what seem to be capital military ships, start carpet bombing the absolute living fuck out of the surface of Gehenna. In particular, you can see Azul and Bering before you, or where you can see where they would be on the surface of the planet. Azul just where you've come from. You can see Bering off somewhere to the south, or the approximate location. A lot of the missiles or bombs seem to be targeted at those, and the two colonies of Gehenna erupt in front of your eyes into cataclysms of flame. again, not for the first time today, it seems that Gehenna has achieved its namesake. All that's left is a burning grave. And that's the end of our trilogy.
Oof.
I'm really impressed by the characters who've made it all the way through. They are truly the actors whose careers were made on the first film, and every film that comes back, their price increases. But they decide, like they were like, oh, they're side characters, like the ones that me and Pierre were playing last time. We're going to hire them back. They asked too much money, and they haven't got enough capital. But Huang, Boria, and Dima, these guys.
No, see, Huang, Dima, and Boria, they will now continue to be typecast for the rest of their careers. Well, obviously, the reason you guys were brought in on the third film was because you're already up-and-coming actors, if not established.
Yeah, young.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Boria is like losing the ability to play a character his age.
Exactly. And then they're just going to be like, we can't work with this guy anymore, right? And then they'll just like, they'll write me out between movies. It'll be like,
he's joined a special task
cryogenic compartment.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
I feel like that ending is like classic. Oh yeah, it's kind of happy. It's kind of good. They, the heroes make it. Oh wait, there's these huge capital ships that have just nuked an entire population, and we're sitting in front of them, having just transmitted a signal to them saying, "Hi, we're here."
We're here from said population, like, "Hi."
Yeah,
we just witnessed that war crime.
Cool. All right, folks. So as usual, please, everyone in chat, if you've got any comments or questions that could be do with this one or the previous installments in our trilogy, please do pop them into chat, and we'll make our way through them. First off, I have some promo to get through, the boring stuff. If you check down below, there's a bunch of links. There's links to Twitch, to our Twitch and our YouTube. You're watching this on one, please do check out the other. Our Twitch is where to catch us live. Our YouTube is where to watch hours and hours and hours and hours of actual plays at this point. Multiple series, multiple systems, multiple one-shots. Something will be in there for you to enjoy, including, if you haven't seen them already, the first two installments of the Gehenna trilogy, A Place of Burning and A Congress of Sorrows. There are also links, to our social media, our Discord, our Patreon. Our Discord is quite fun nowadays. Nice little community there. Please come and join us. We run 2 weekly series at the moment. Vason is on Mondays, run by Johnny, which is our lovely folk horror 1800s investigatory thing, which people are liking. And Wednesdays is our very long-running Simbaroon campaign that I run because apparently we're all completely addicted to Free League and can't run anything else. We run one-shots once a month, which is what this was. There are, however, 2 one-shots in January. The other one is on Sunday, January the 22nd, and is another sequel, this time to the One Ring one-shot, or it ended up being a 2-shot. But that we did a couple of years ago. And it's basically mashing up a Lord of the Rings online story into One Ring. If any of that sounds interesting to you, come join us on January 22nd. It's a lot of fun as Pierre can... Is Pierre the... Oh, no, Justin's in it this time as well, but wasn't in the first one. But Pierre and Justin will be in that one too. Is that on my promo? That's my usual promo, right? Yeah, there we go. Yes. There we go. Cool. All right, folks. Bring us the comments and questions. Ooh, 42. Good to see you. When you have a xenomorph infestation in your home, the solution is, of course, baking soda. Just sprinkle it liberally around, and where it mixes with the life form's acidic fluids, they will explode. I always like to make things in my home explode to keep it.
We need more explosions, not less.
Absolutely. Steve, many people don't know that xenos can't burp, so if you feed them Alka-Seltzer, they pop. one of many things they have in common with ducks. I can literally think of one, but I'm not going to talk about it.
No,
don't want to get censored.
This was from the beginning of the episode.
I'm in danger. Yeah, as in just all the way through. Yeah. Look at him with his fancy pulse rifle.
Don't run the battery down, Matt.
John, move over sad dad hero trope. Give me stressed older sister hero.
Yeah. I feel like I just sort of dumped that on Justin, like immediately. Just like, you can't.
It's great.
No,
I
that
was
was
just hoping
great.
you had enough fun. Like,
I loved the periodic interlude of comic relief in the tense build up of the main arc. That was great.
This was the only one we've done with no PC deaths.
Came very close.
You tried.
Very close. Because the death save is a stamina roll with no stress dice, which would just have been 4 dice.
Yeah. Next. Oh, I'm not even going to try and pronounce it, Salsa, but thank you for the Portuguese. That presumably was raise your hands or something like that. But thank you, Salsa. I'm not going to embarrass myself by trying to pronounce it. I don't speak any Portuguese or Portuguese adjacent language.
Speak Esperanto?
I do not speak. I speak Portuguese, nor Esperanto, nor Spanish, nor any variety of the above.
This was from, again, the very beginning of the episode.
Alex genuinely expected to have to go full auto, but the night is young, and hey,
there we go.
Prophetic words.
But in the end, it was Steve with the iconic full auto. So
we always have to have at least one.
Indeed, as Shell said, never underestimate a scientist pushed to the brink. They will snap and become a screaming badass. Absolutely.
Well, pretty severely burned.
Yeah, Demon's in a lot of pain.
Very
emotionally as well.
He channeled it.
Yeah.
He got a lot of respect from chat. So,
Dima, man of the moment. GG Dima MVP. Yeah.
I also know. I know we had at least one ad properly go off because we had this comment from Don't Click Food. And I just want context.
This Tony Hawk TikTok cornhole ad is a lot. It sounds like a lot.
It sounds like so much, and I need to know.
Is it advertising Tony Hawk, TikTok, or cornholes?
I mean, I hope not the latter.
Cornhole?
Some kind of unholy trinity of the three.
I hope it's not advertising cornholes because. I mean, it would make it. To be fair, it would make a change from on every website on Earth getting an ad from Google trying to sell Chrome to you by telling you about a feature that every other browser also has. Yep. Chrome remembers passwords for you. No shit. Of course it does.
Matt, this is getting a bit political, frankly.
It is.
Don't enter
Look,
us into the
I just prefer cornhole ads. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
I just want to say, I really like it when you're using a service and then the service starts advertising its service to you. Like, I'm watching a YouTube video. Why are you advertising YouTube to me?
I know.
Yes.
It maddens me.
Come for the RPG, stay for the commentary.
Stay for the grumpy old man.
Stay for the jaded rants about technology.
Would you have actually killed off the child if it had cropped up? Yes, I would have.
Yep.
I did think about that because I thought, that's probably a decision I should make before we start. And yes, I decided I would do.
Yeah. But thankfully, I'm a coward, so I ran away from every possible danger, as I feel I ought to.
I would have. I think, I'm pretty sure children have died either on or off screen in something we've done so far.
Yeah.
I mean, nuking the entire planet probably killed a few kids.
Sure. But specifically, you know what I mean? I'm almost sure that has happened to some degree. I probably wouldn't have given it a horrible description just because that seems over the top. But
yes.
Yeah, I had decided that was a valid target.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm curious to know, did you anticipate Pierre being found right at the start of this? A lot of your planning got into
Pierre
no.
Away. I was in fact hopeful because I thought that would make it a lot easier. Otherwise, I'll have to keep going to Pierre,
sidebarring everything.
Just Pierre the whole time I was the ship, looking out and seeing the events unfold.
I'll be honest, I saw two possibilities. One, I totally escaped detection, and then I'm killed by an alien off at random about a third of the way through. Two,
no one even knew you were there.
Yeah. My father never knows.
Absolutely. So before we we've done a whole trilogy of these now. Thoughts?
I really enjoyed.
Did everyone enjoy them?
I love me some Free League games in general, but Alien especially. So
it is nice to have the progression. It is nice to have sort of things to build on.
Well, for some of us anyway. For those of us that survived the episode, like I'm ready at every opportunity for Boyer to just abruptly get one shot, like by some random thing, which is
it could very easily have happened tonight.
Yeah.
Like that, it shows just
though.
how dangerous one alien is in close proximity. So part of me is disappointed we didn't have any character deaths tonight because we've
I agree.
the other ones, but
we were very we were honest about it though, and we were just right up against it quite a few times. So
here's my I had this fun, well, it's fun for me in a weird way, notion of a final question to ask everyone. Now the most important question to ask anyone about a trilogy is which was their favorite one, right? So with that in mind, I am now going to go around and ask these players which their favorite one was. I'm fully expecting one of them to say this one because I can't remember anything from the others, because we're not fully functioning adults. But I'm gonna roll so we don't pick on anyone. Like, you know, it's gonna be the luck of the roll of the die. For Justin survived. Do you know what lengths I go through to try not to kill Justin's characters because of this vendetta?
He's just a bullet magnet. That's the
problem. You're saying vendetta as if it's not you that's been killing me this entire time.
It is random chance and your own actions.
I always do.
Alex, what's your favorite one of the famous Gehenna trilogy?
The iconic Gehenna trilogy. I would say it's either this one or the first one. The reasoning being, it's quite fun to do the first episode with a character because they don't have a fucking clue what's going on, which means you can't. There's like no wiggle room for you to metagame at all, and you have to just be like, I know exactly what I want them to do, but they're going to go and investigate the strange noise in the bushes, right? They're just going to So, you know, that kind of thing is quite fun for the first episode, but also having somehow miraculously survived to a third, it's like you've now got like a bit more of a, like, I guess, a rapport with the character where you there's investment there. So I'd say this one on balance, but yeah.
Fair enough. John, how about you?
I think, as with most trilogies, I prefer the first one.
It's fair. That is fair.
And I'm trying. So
what you're saying is, I've only got worse over time.
That's just degrading.
What I'm saying is, much like Fellowship of the Ring, my favorite things when everyone is fresh-faced and optimistic. And they're like riding away into the sunset at the end, going, "We'll beat everything."
Yep. No, that's fair, and good reference because, of course, Fellowship is the best of that trilogy. Steve.
Oh, this is tough. I've enjoyed all of them. They've all had really standout moments. The first one, I mean, we've covered like a couple of years now, so the first one was fairly early on in my appearances on stream.
It was the first one shot we did.
Yeah. So I enjoyed the story of that. Personally, I felt I was rougher interacting with things. So I've kind of enjoyed the second and the third more from that angle. You know, but I don't know. They're all great. You can't choose a favourite.
Oh, he's copping out. He's copping out.
Great. That's a great response.
It is.
Justin.
I agree that I think my favourite, mostly because of the real tension building, was the first one. But my best favourite scene is, and kind of like thing playing out, is the death scene of my character that I started with in the second one, because that was great. It really, I think, stretched as a GM, you going, something needs to happen, but I want to reward good role playing and good character development, even if that character development ends in this person getting exploded.
Yeah.
And that was really good. There were so many good scenes, but that was a great scene. And that whole bit was that whole part of that episode was really good. Viewers should go and watch the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, I'm gonna stand up a bit for the middle part here as well, because I don't think anyone's really highlighted that one so far. But I like a lot of Congress of Sorrows.
The Morlock stuff was all really good in that.
Yeah.
And the twist. The M. Night Shyamalan twist.
The right at the beginning twist.
That we've already spoiled at the start of this episode.
Yeah. Pierre.
Funnily enough, I was going to say my favourite was the second one.
There we go.
I was very keen on the second one. Partly, I think, because it had the history of my character, like this whole arc of him being a bad person and then having like maybe a sort of vaguely redemption thing, not really redemption, but just doing something.
You flirted at best.
Maybe exactly.
The faintest
character shows the smallest amount of like compassion or heroism and then is immediately killed. It's great.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
And your character in the first one is just so actually
it's fun.
The first one was
genuinely creepy.
I like it.
Interact with.
Yeah, it's funny thinking about them because they were planned in quite slightly different ways. Like A Place of Burning was a lot more planned out than the second or the third one. They were a lot more, not even sandboxy, but just like this. I know there's roughly 10 scenes and they're roughly this, and then I just do them. And a lot of it is kind of improvised as well. Whereas the first one was a lot more like, this is the layout of the station. This is like a lot more of the story beats were sort of like story beats or locations and people were very planned. Whereas this was a bit more vague, but and the second one was more vague. But yeah. Although I also wanted to do it without doing a kind of like, it's like poetry, they rhyme sort of thing. I wanted a lot of this one to evoke the first one, in that you were again in a limited location. It was like an industrial facility. There's even other things one could argue were like elements of like sort of evoking stuff from the first one. Someone started it in prison, essentially imprisoned for murder.
I got burned. Boria got paralyzed. So
yeah, but unintentionally. Yeah, but yeah.
I thought it was going to end with us, blowing it. I mean, it did get blown sky high in the end, but not by us and on a much bigger scale. But I was expecting it.
Cool. And I have left the doorway a little bit open for if we want to revisit. There are some little threads there that we could tug on. And there's always I always tempted as well to rerun the for anyone. I probably mentioned it in the other ones, but this whole thing and this whole setting is kind of comes from an offline Alien one shot I ran. I believe in the beginning bit I mentioned the space station, the Mercy, which is that's where that was set, and a whole bunch of people in this played in that as well in the offline version. And I could do an adaptation of that. But the problem with doing an adaptation of that is that it's really highlights where I got the setting from, which was stolen entirely from a story in 2000 AD, about 25 years ago, called Mercy Heights. But other than including Gehenna itself, is it called? I don't think it's called Gehenna in that, but it's the idea of this toxic kind of planet setting with these warring colonies and stuff is from that. So yeah, so I can't write this up and sell it, is what I'm saying.
Change a few names.
Just change a few.
Yeah. File a couple of the serial numbers off and.
Exactly. No one remembers Mercy Heights anyway. If you do, leave a comment. Cool. All right. Thank you so much, folks. We'll see you this week for Vaesen and Simba Room, which are our regular shows. Sunday, January 22nd for our One Ring sequel. Take care and stay safe, everyone. And we'll see you soon. Goodbye.
Bye.